Let's talk about the Howard Blum airmail article. And I'm not talking about regurgitating and going through the same parts that everybody's already gone through. There's one specific part that I want to address. And before I do, I'll just say I have the entire text conversation between Steve and the internet friend, fellow internet detective that's frequently referred to in this article. So I've seen these texts, I've seen what's been said. I'll, give my thoughts. I'm not going to be posting a ton of screenshots from it, so please don't ask. But I am going to post one, and only because it, I think, proves that Howard Blum took some pretty egregious creative license when writing this article and promoting it. So Howard Blum went on Airmail's podcast, what's it called, Morning Meeting, to promote the article. And he talks about some of the findings that Steve made when he did his own private investigation. And this is one thing that he claims Steve found out.
And see, since the beginning of this case, one of the great mysteries is, and has been, two roommates survived. One of them, according to a police affidavit, saw the killer walk through the house. She stares at him, and then she goes back to her room. And for the next 8 hours, nothing happened. Well, according to what Kaylee's father has found, there has been evidence presented to the grand jury that says that these two roommates, during the course of this murder, were texting to one another, and that at one point they even sent a text saying, "Oh my gosh, I think someone's being killed."
All right. Now, if you follow this internet friend, fellow internet detective, they're a creator on TikTok, and if you follow them, then you know that she has repeated multiple times that the actual quote that Steve told her in their messages was that one of the roommates sent a text and said, "I think someone killed them." Past tense. Howard Blum in this podcast changes the tense, adds a little bit of flair. "Oh my gosh, I think someone's being killed." Totally changing kind of the context of this quote. And unless he received a text, unless Howard received a text from somebody else that gave him this information, that's not what was said in this one text to the internet friend. And I'm going to show it to you now. This is the text. And as you can see, the actual quote was, "I think someone killed them." Now, I know that there's been a lot of banter on the Idaho 4 Facebook page that I don't belong to, and on the Gonzalez family Facebook page as well today. And they're saying that somebody manufactured or fabricated texts and gave them to Howard Blum. I maybe somebody did. I don't happen to believe the person whose text messages or conversation I've seen. I don't believe they're fabricated. I believe they're real. And I know other people have seen them because this internet friend admitted she sent them to multiple people. I also know that the internet friend went on a live on TikTok, opened her laptop, opened up Messenger, and scrolled through the entire string while on a TikTok live, meaning at any time somebody could have recorded that and enhanced it. Read between the lines there. So, and no, I'm not saying I did it. Now, I don't know what I would do if I had a child taken from me in such a brutal way. I think it would. I'm certified in trauma recovery. I know what it does to the brain. I know it affects judgment and reasoning. I know that. I can't imagine what Steve is going through, and I can totally understand that he probably just wants answers. And sometimes it's just easier to work through things with a stranger on the internet, as odd as that might sound. But like I said, I do believe these conversations, I don't believe, I know they're real. Now, I don't know what text messages they're referring to on the Facebook page, but the ones I have, they're real. And I don't plan on posting anything else of the conversation because the only thing I cared about from the exchange was what felt like Howard Blum embellishing a story, embellishing one line to write a dramatic paragraph at the expense of these two survivors. And I don't care listen, I have made it very clear. I think Brian's guilty, and I don't think the roommates had anything to do with it. And I'm sure you're going to come at me in the comments. I've been doing this on TikTok for a long time. Have at it. Have your fun. I think what these roommates have gone through is deplorable. I think it's dangerous. And I think that we should hope that the online harassment doesn't lead to the loss of more life. And that's all I'll say there. Now, everybody's been talking about how, oh my God, the roommates were texting during the murders. Well, if you read the PCA, you knew that they were awake during the murders. You knew that they were texting during the murders because that was one of the ways they were able to establish a timeline was by downloading the forensic data from their phones. And Christy went on the Drunk Turkey podcast and she admitted that she knew Dylan had sent a text to the housemates, to the roommates at 4:25 a.m. And for those people who are going to say, text can be faked, and I know, I'm not stupid. Do I strike you as A, somebody stupid, and B, someone who doesn't do their due diligence? I wouldn't talk about this at all if I weren't very certain these were real. And again, the only reason why I said anything is because this article has once again started the groundswell of criticism and harassment and bullying of the surviving roommates. And I don't know when it's going to end. And for all these people who say, well, they must have been involved, I want to give me a story. Give me a theory that starts from point A to point Z. Please. I'm happy to listen to it, but you have to give me an actual story that makes sense, that isn't full of holes about how they knew and they just locked themselves in their room. And I'm happy to listen to it. I'm happy to engage it and let's talk about it. But you have got to give me a story. You've got to give me a plausible explanation. And as far as anybody who is going to say, well, they should have reported, they should be held accountable, they should be charged with failure to report. Moscow hadn't had a homicide in almost 10 years. This is a place where everybody kept their doors open and didn't lock them. I don't think people understand. That is a quadruple murder is going to be the last thing that these 20-year-old young adults consider. This is a house that always has noise in it. And for people to say, oh, well, they must have screamed. No, they didn't necessarily have to scream. And if you did your research, you would know that they very likely didn't and didn't have time to. So that's all I'm addressing in this video. I'm sorry that I was late. I've been sick all week. But also, I just saw everybody sort of rehashing the same thing and the same thing and the same thing. And knowing that I had read the text messages and knowing like what in that article is really, really, really badly embellished. I wasn't really sure what was appropriate to say and what wasn't. So this is what I feel most important to get out, that the quote that Blum gives on the podcast feels manipulated. And that the whole, they were awake. We knew this already. This is not breaking news, but people are willing to believe it because it aligns with the narrative. We knew they were awake. We knew they were texting. That's how they got the timeline. They downloaded their forensic data from the phone. This is not new information. That's it. I will come back again before the end of the weekend with another video. If there's something specific you want me to address, let me know. You can email me at characteranalysissubstack@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment. Good to see you guys. We'll be back soon. Bye.